Let's do my first kiln unloading using my newly rebuilt kiln. Hi, I'm Kent. In my last video, I glazed all of these pots over here. In this video, I'm going to load my kiln and do my first glaze firing. All right, let's load the pots. These 4 pots are the last ones of my old clay body. And I have several more pots, so I think I'll go ahead and put in the last layer. I'm guessing I could probably squeeze them in, but my kiln is not going to be full. Over here, we'll put in some test cones just to make sure that we get to temperature properly. 5, 6, 7. Last piece. All right, the kiln is loaded. I'm sure I could put several more pots in here, but that's all I have right now. This will be my first full glaze fire. I'm excited. It's a little bit late in the day. I want to be able to babysit this since it will be my first glaze firing in this kiln. My bisque firing went just fine. I've done several test fires with just cones just fine. I want to go ahead and run this during the day so I can watch it. Speaking of watching, I think I'll move these around. That way I can see the cones from the peephole. All right, we'll go and close this up for now, and tomorrow I will fire it. Next time you see these, they should be all done. It looks like I had a good glaze firing. So here's the top shelf. It looks like my pots did well. Here are my cones. This is the cone 5 cone. It definitely laid down. Cone 6 bent over and is just touching, so it looks like I got a perfect cone 6 firing. And cone 7 just started to bend. The control software for my kiln looked like it worked properly. I think I have to retune the PID values. I was having a few challenges as I was getting up to temperature, but overall it followed the profile pretty well. So this is the Dove Gray. It is one of my coasters for my plants. Here is a Dove Gray pot. This is my green. And the same green with the papaya orange on top. You can see I had to run down the side. That turned out well. And with blue on top, the green is peeking through a little bit more on this one. And this is the blue just straight up. This is the robin's egg. It's very similar to the gray. As I mentioned before, similar style. They both have brown speckles in them. This one is a light blue, maybe a little bit of green, versus this one's a much darker gray. My yellow, and yellow with the orange on the rim. And I mentioned I have 2 browns, and I wasn't sure exactly which was which, and they do look a little bit different. This one's a little bit more red. This one didn't cover quite as well, but it still looks pretty good. And here's the same pots with my black homemade glaze using mason stain on the top. All right, I just moved you so you can get a better view. So these 4 pots here are the same brown, but on my old clay body. These are the last ones I have in my old clay body. So this one's the lighter brown. And this is the one that's a little bit more red. And I can already see this pot didn't make it. There's a crack in the bottom. And it got fused to my kiln shelf. No bueno. This is the art glaze. See, it broke pretty nicely over the texture here. Oh, that one stuck a little bit as well. This one ran more. Also broke over the texture on this one. So here is the straight up papaya orange. And this is the papaya with the yellow on top. You can see it barely came through. It's very faint. And this is the green with the yellow on top as well. Also very, very faint. The robin's egg. And this is the speckled gray. And one more of the speckled gray. And here are the pots all laid out. So here's the glaze on my old clay body. Those two. And those two. Here are the two that I put my black mason stain glaze on the top. And the two that are just straight up. There's a very subtle shade of brown. This one's a little bit more red. This one's a little bit more brown. Here's the art glaze I had. See that it's got a more of a greenish color, where it's thicker and more brown, and it broke over the edges. My chartreuse glazes here. This one has the yellow on top, which you can barely see. This one's just straight up green. And then the same with the orange and then the blue. Here's blue all by itself. Getting back this way, so here's just my yellow with the orange on top. Here's the orange with the yellow on top. That one didn't really come through. Just the orange. Robin's egg. It's a subtle bluish color. And then these four here are the speckled gray. I think we'll call that a successful first glaze firing and kiln opening. I think all those pots turned out really well. I definitely have some more practice to do with my glaze application, but it shows my kiln's actually working. I was able to get to cone 6 just fine. As I mentioned before, I think I'll need to tune some of the parameters for the kiln controller, but I'll do that in the future. Right now it seems to be working all right. With this glaze firing, I don't have any more pots. I've gone all the way from slip to bone dray pots through my bisque firing and now my glaze firing. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below. Thanks.